We saw the start of the WNBA season, and Caitlin Clark and obviously, which is interesting because it's Caitlin Clark. But anyway, and Angel Reese had their game. I mean, Angel Reese got a hard foul from Caitlin Clark. Why does it? Why is are these two players such lightning rods for driving this racial divide, racial conversation? I have no idea. It wasn't that hard of a foul. People talk S during games all the time. In fact, I encourage it when I play because I'm a S talker when I played. Hey, there's nothing wrong with some healthy trash talk during the course of a game in competition when it's especially two of the top premier players that are going at it. Fellas, it turned into this war of words between Caitlin Clark followers and Angel Reese followers, and then it spilled over into the media. RG3 had some interesting perspective on how much he feels that it's clear that Angel Reese, and the way that he did it, obviously irritated Ryan Clark, but how much Angel Reese truly hates Caitlin Clark. And I guess the way he had it set up, he was talking. His wife, who is a white woman, was in the background. It seemed as though RG3 was taking shots at her in a way that maybe could be disparaging towards our black racial group, which is strange because, RG3 is, of course, black. Ryan Clark had some things to say and took shots at the wife in doing so, or at least seemingly so. Ryan Clark came out and apologized, and here's what he had to say. But I want to, on the other side of the comments, I just want to get some perspective on you guys on what's off limits, what's in play, how should these things in the future be handled? Because obviously, we're living in a day and age where you have to be aware of what's taking place, how you say it, how it's going to be received, what backlash could come from it. But here's what Ryan Clark had to say after the comments he had going towards RG3 and his wife.
To Greta, I was out of line. I was out of bounds. I apologize. To all of the people that don't like RG's take or takes or the way that he moves, or even if you just in this conversation take my side and want to support me, leave his family alone. Families should be off limits. I started that by bringing her into it. I see that now. No matter what my intent was, the impact was different.
Now, obviously, Angel Reese transferred from Maryland and ended her career at LSU. Ryan Clark is a LSU alum as well. Again, Ryan Clark makes the media circuit quite a bit. We talk about him quite a bit. And granted, this one, I'll take full credit for saying that. This, I just wanted to hear y'all's perspective on it because we all know him. But in this scenario, should it have gone to the extent that it did? I mean, to make a point about, RG3 talking about Angel Reese in this moment, did it need to go down the lane that it did? How do you guys see these things? How if it were you, and you were sitting where, say, RG3 was sitting or sitting where Ryan Clark was sitting, how do you handle this situation, fellas?
Let me say this. I don't know RG3. I've never met him. I know Ryan Clark. I've met Ryan. We've talked. Ryan is a good dude, man. Mm-hmm. And I think you guys can attest it. Anybody that's met Ryan will say he's just a genuinely good dude. He's a nice person. He's a good human being. I think he tries to treat everybody how he would want to be treated. And so when he said, when I brought his family into it, my intent wasn't to talk bad upon them, but I see how many may have taken that. And so he apologized. There's always going to be some type of racial divide when it comes to sports. It's always been that way. It's always been, especially in boxing. Everybody supports their kind. And This is what sports is. I think what happened was when RG3 said Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark. Hate is a strong word. That is a strong word to say. So now when you say that, in the world of social media, everybody's going to go to her page and everybody's going to start being disrespectful towards Angel Reese because he said, oh, she hates Caitlin Clark. To me, it's a great rivalry. They've helped each other out. Once LSU played Iowa in the women's college basketball tournament, that game sparked competitiveness between these two women to where it was like, okay, we hope this can go on into the WNBA. And it has. But to use the word hate, it's just competitive juices flowing in the game. And I didn't think it was a hard foul. I thought, I'm not giving you an and one. She got up. She took offense to it. No big deal. Water off a duck's back. And so now with RG3 and Ryan Clark, again, I don't know RG3. I don't know him. But I do know Ryan. And so it takes a lot for a man to apologize. I don't know how y'all are.
See.
Hey, I'm not apologizing. It is what it is. Because if you say something about my family, cool. Cool. Now it's no hold bars. It's when I see you, whatever happens, happens.
We all sight.
Yeah. And I'm getting too old to have that mentality, but I'm not as mature right now. I'm hoping to be that way here soon.
All day. I walk around that burner all day. Go ahead.
Hey, man.
Go ahead.
Obviously, man, I had the opportunity to play with RC in Pittsburgh, and I got a front row seat to know and understand and play with this man because he was right next to me. He was like my locker mate, me, him, and Casey Hampton. Mm-hmm. So I understand him. I know him very well. And for him to come out and apologize about something says a lot about Ryan Clark. Because if you know him, when he makes a statement or he says something, he rides with it. He stands on it. And I did think that it was a little bit out of bounds when you go into people's homes. LaVar, we always talk about this. There's two things about business. I mind my own business and stay out of everybody else's business.
Indeed.
That's what I do. I don't go into nobody's home, and whatever the case may be, it's out of bounds for me as a human being. But, getting to this whole Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark thing, this whole thing started in college. And I took my daughter to watch the Final Four in Albany. I believe it was 2 years ago. LSU was playing Iowa in the Final Four to get to the national championship. And the divide was clear as day. It was white versus black. That's what it was for them two young ladies in that building that night playing in that game. And it's going to continue. And it takes me back to like the Magic versus Bird. Everybody wanted Caitlin Clark to go out on top because she's probably going to go down as one of the most highly decorated college female basketball players of all time. And it takes me back to the 1979 Magic versus Larry Bird, and Magic and Michigan State winning the national championship against Larry Bird, and that continued on for the next 2 decades in the NBA. But from an RG3 standpoint, I don't think that when he said hate, I don't really think that he used the right context in which these young women compete against each other. Man, it's good to see. It's competitive. And the generation of women's basketball has changed in the last 5 to 10 years, which I have witnessed personally from my daughter. Just watching the landscape of women basketball, man, and where it is now, man, it's good for the game. And these two young ladies don't hate each other. They compete and they go out and they just want to beat each other. That's all it is. But there's no hate, man. It's good for the game, and it's good for these young women to witness that, they care about winning and competing, And I think that's all it is, bottom line.
I don't think that we need to treat these adults as children, right? It's sports. When there's something that happens, we've seen hard fouls take place in the NBA. We've seen dudes get in each other's faces. Anthony Edwards just hit SGA the other night with the ball, right? Got irritated, got bothered, hitting with the ball. Nobody is crashing out over it. I just feel like we have to be careful in these moments because while I'll agree, I think RC is a dope dude. Like I played with him in Washington, got to know him. We created the Afro Coalition, me, him, and Sean Taylor. We all grew our hair out together and was trying to be the hardest hitters on the field, Personally, my personal take on it is I know Ryan Clark as a person as well. I know his family, and he has done a hell of a job being an ambassador of his family and of our game. When you enter into this realm of media, you have to be fully aware of as your profile grows, and as much as his has grown, you have to understand the gravity of what your words carry. So when you're in the locker room and you're that type of guy, the guy we got to know in the locker room, that can't actually in every single situation be the guy that is in media. You have to take the understanding of what it represents to look at a situation and approach it in a way where it's authentically you, which makes us special because we played the game and now we're in media, but also takes the responsibility of understanding that you are a media personality now. You are no longer an athlete. I don't identify TJ Houshmandzadeh and Plaxico Burress when we're doing Up On Game, or myself, LaVar Arrington, as a player. I identify with us as media people. We are 100% media that are former athletes. So when you have a situation where it was whether it was a hard foul, whether it wasn't, it led to whatever the exchange was after. We see that happen here and there. We saw the Pistons. We saw what happened with Giannis and Giannis's dad, and there was different things that came out from that. Like, these things happen. I feel like to turn it into what it became was to me, that was a misread and a misjudgment because Ryan Clark is so much more relevant than RG3. And to bring that scenario to life where he's talking about RG3 and pinpointing the things that he pinpointed on RG3's wife and the liking of the color of the skin and throwing out milk, to me, that's where I felt like this is a learning experience for not just Ryan Clark, but for all of us, right? Like, there's no reason for us to take a sport situation and turn it into that. Like, if I disagree with something one of y'all say or y'all disagree with something I say, we don't immediately, like, y'all know what I like. I know what y'all like. We've been around each other long enough. There's no reason for us to go into that type of arena to prove a point. Like, the point is not that serious to me to prove to the world that my point is better than your point. Y'all dig what I'm saying? Like, to me, that's what my conclusion was. If I were to say anything about this scenario, it would be keep it to your opinion and your thought process on what took place, how that impacts the game. This is one of the biggest stories in all of sports. That's good for the WNBA. You're getting more exposure, whether you like it or not, in terms of why you're getting that exposure. The bottom line is Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark drive the needle on relevance of the game. Outside of that, unless you're a big-time WNBA fan, an avid fan, you're not paying that close of attention. Had that incident never happened, there would have been no real discussions other than the fact that two champions, locked horns in the opener, and one of them got knocked to the ground, didn't like it, boom, whatever happens from there. But
the game was a blowout. The game was a blowout. So
Caitlin balled. She balled.
It was a blowout. So that's why the game isn't being talked about. The incident between RG3 and Ryan Clark is taking over because
which is crazy.
It wasn't a competitive game. That's why.
But think about what you just said, TJ. Ryan Clark and RG3 became the biggest storyline out of a storyline that should have been the story in itself, right? Like the story is you got and this would never have happened if
I mean,
it
they
was
really
Magic
could have
Johnson
just
or Larry Bird. It would have
they
never
could have
happened.
just talked on the side, said what they had to say to each other, and that would have been the end of it. If they could have done that also. They could get each other's numbers. They may have each other's numbers. Talk it out on the phone, and whether you talk it and it's amicable or it isn't, it's not in the public eye. They could have handled it themselves.
But they're the talent. They're the talent and they're the athletes. I look at it from the standpoint of handle y'all business as players. Try to be responsible over your brand and your name. Build it the way that you want to build it. Approach it how you want to approach it. But then once the media gets a hold of it, the media is going to have it. And to certain parts of the media, you expect them to be a certain type of way in how they handle back and forths and rivalries and all those things. You expect it because that's their hook. That's how they get people to view them and pay attention to them. I feel like for us who have played the game, we should always hold ourselves to a higher standard, a higher understanding and esteem for one another and the people that are coming and doing it now. We all have children that are playing the game. I would never want this to be the way my kids or your kids are covered. I would just want it to be like stay down the lane. Stay in the lane in terms of what your knowledge is, your understanding of it, and get perspective on it. But the way RC went about it, I mean, he apologized for it, so I don't think I'm saying anything that's out of pocket. Like we get it. Like let's be media people and let's represent ourselves well, because at the end of the day, I don't see color with my teammates. I have teammates and people that have played in the league that I have an affinity for and a love for, and they're white, they're Polynesian. You know, I love them because they were my teammates. I love them because we played together. You know what I mean? So I don't take shots at, even if I don't know you, I don't take shots at you that way, because there's still a real formal respect for one another that is connected to what we did and now what we're doing in the media. So that's how I would look at it. I appreciate you guys on the perspective and the candor on it. You know, what's your take on it, Cuffs? Like I asked the guys earlier about their take on the Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark scenario. What's your take on it?
As someone who's like been involved with coaching basketball, training players, developing players, I've been in the gym over 20 plus years of my life. And there's this phrase that us coaches say. I've heard some of my NBA buddies say this to young prospects: keep the main thing the main thing. Y'all have heard that, right? In locker rooms, like keep the main thing the main thing. And when it comes to Angel Reese, when I watch her skill set on the court, she's so raw, and she's still so raw and unpolished. I feel like she really, really needs to hear some truth serum from some real people outside of her camp and her circle. She needs to get in the lab with a real basketball trainer and work on her weaknesses, because, like, it looks like it just looks like somebody who's like a clout chaser. She's in it for all the perks that comes with being a famous basketball player, like the money, the fame, the notoriety. But she's shooting 22%. She's shooting 22%, and she's a power forward. Like Dennis Rodman was not really – I see the comparisons of Dennis Rodman as far as her being having a great nose for the basketball and being a great offensive rebounder, but even Dennis Rodman can make a layup. You know, if you've seen that clip that's floating around right now,
it's her missed shots that she's rebounding, Cuffs. Just thought I'd add that to the conversation.
Exactly.
It's her shots that she's rebounding.
Exactly, LaVar.
I mean, Dennis Rodman was rebounding other people's shots.
What does her basketball ability and talent have to do with, you know, the little, you know, scruff that she had with Caitlin Clark?
Well, my issue with I don't really have an issue with it. My thing with her and Caitlin Clark is I feel like Angel would never admit this publicly, but she likes the drama that comes along with being attached to Caitlin Clark. So if you look back last season, right, Alyssa Thomas played for the Mercury, the Phoenix Mercury now, but Alyssa Thomas, she played for the Connecticut Sun last year. Every matchup she went against Angel Reese last year, she was literally bullying Angel Reese on the court, and Angel never really barked back at her the same way she did Caitlin Clark. So that tells me there is something there. And we saw RG3's comments. We saw him and Ryan Clark going back and forth about this Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark stuff.
How'd you feel about that?
I just feel like Angel is jealous of Caitlin. She's jealous that she can't keep up with her from a talent standpoint. She has to do all these extras to stay in the conversation, because if we just look at pure basketball ability, you're not in the conversation. Caitlin Clark is literally the female Steph Curry. It's not the same conversation as far as who's the best player. So I did see the guys going back and forth, and I think it might be a little CTE going on with Ryan Clark.
Hey man, stop that, bro. Hey, you on the show with 3 football players.
Wow.
What you mean CTE? You get your ass kicked.
Hey, we all got it. It's all right. We got it. We all right. Some just handle it more than others. Handle it better.
The reason I say that is, like, how does Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark getting into a little scuffle on the court? How does that turn into you guys posting pictures of your kids and your wives and y'all fussing and arguing back and forth?
You got that part of it right.
So you know what that tells me, guys? It proves my point that Caitlin Clark is already the GOAT already in year 2. She's already the GOAT. She moves the needle unlike anybody we've ever seen in women's basketball.
There's nobody else out there in the WNBA stratosphere like the shorter girl in Vegas. You don't feel like she's like.
I'm a huge fan.
Are we just saying? Are we just going along with the fact that Caitlin Clark is going to be the MVP of the league this year? It's just going to be her world. It just is what it is.
I think the MVP right now is Napheesa Collier for the Minnesota Lynx, who's one of my favorite players in the league. If you look at her numbers so far this year, it's insane. But I feel like the other girls, they're not really craving the spotlight as much as some of the younger players that's coming into the league. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like they get kind of overshadowed and overlooked at times. I really do. That's my thing.
But why is that? Why do you think that is? I mean, you gotta build up the brand in order for the entire brand to build up, right? So one singular brand growing is positive for the entire league. So why would they not want that attention?
Because the part about the WNBA right now that I notice is it's more about the drama and gossip with the WNBA than it is actual basketball. And me being a purist of the game, I hate that it's like that. I really do. I wish people would tune in more to actually watch basketball instead of saying, oh, today Angel Reese is playing Caitlin Clark. You've seen the ratings when they play each other. Whenever those two when the Chicago Sky play the Indiana Fever, everybody really rushes to their TV screen to see it, because we live in a world where it's all about drama and gossip and chaos. You know what I'm saying? And I hate that the league has turned into that, because there's so many talented WNBA players that's coming into the league. Like, I'm watching the Washington Mystics, like Sonia Citron from Notre Dame. Nobody's talking about her. She was the first-round draft pick this year, playing well. Like I said, Napheesa Collier, she did her thing in the Olympics with Asia Wilson. But the average person on the street, if you go to your average grocery store right now and you was walking around and you saw Napheesa Collier, the average American wouldn't recognize her in person before they would Caitlin Clark. So I feel like the league has to do a better job of actually marketing basketball instead of – because if you look at Twitter, we see, like I said, we see the drama. We see the extras more than we see hoop. And I'm a hoop fan.
Right, yeah. The story itself became a bigger story than even the game. And TJ mentioned it earlier. Like, look, the game wasn't competitive, but you're still talking about 2 big names, and you're able to leverage those names.
It's good for the WNBA, man. It's good for the WNBA.
Do you think it's good?
It's bringing more eyeballs. I just hope they can retain those fans. You see what I'm saying? Like, don't just come around for the drama and the spicy stuff. Stay around and watch some basketball.
Are you saying that because Angel Reese isn't as good as you think she needs to be? Because I don't think that would be – the retention would definitely be there for Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is doing, like you said, Steph Curry type stuff. She's hitting baskets from all over the court. But it sounds as though you saying Angel Reese might not be the retainer in this. It might be more about the drama than it is her game, Cuffs. I mean, I feel like that's what I took from what you said.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. But, like, that's what I'm saying. She needs to focus and keep the main thing the main thing. I want to see Angel Reese come back next year with a 15-foot mid-range jumper. I want to see her back to the basket, spin moves, step-throughs, footwork. Plaxico knows this stuff. I've seen your daughter, Plaxico. She's doing her thing. Like, you've been in the gym. You've seen girls basketball. You've seen improvement. You've seen development. I don't see any development with Angel Reese since she came from LSU. She's the same player.
Damn.
She's the same player.
Hey, well, she need to go. She need to hit up this one guy from Carolina and get in the gym with him.
His name's Cuffs, the legend
Hey,
of the
yeah.
Dude Show
Look,
podcast.
the doors to the church are open anytime, Angel Reese.
Amen.
Pull up. Look, we doing mic and drills. We doing at least 200 to 300 mic and drills, reverse mic and drills. We starting every session with a mic and drill because you can't make a layup around the basket. 22% field goal percentage for a power forward is rubbish.
Yeah.
It's rubbish.
Mm-hmm.
It's rubbish. Golly.
I mean, all it takes is, that 1 year for you to go out and, not perform on the level that, you think you should be. I've been through it. I'm sure TJ and LaVar, had
Man, my son playing right now.
The way that
Like
they,
right now,
they,
right
they didn't want.
Right now.
So you get in the lab and you fix it. So that's what you got to do. That's one of the things about being a great player. It doesn't matter what sport you play.
Always something to work on.
It's always something to work on, because the better you get, the better the people are going to be defending you or whatever the case may be. So you gotta not play to your strengths, but make your weaknesses your strength. And I believe
I would love to sit down with Angel and really have real private conversations, because I want to know if she really loves basketball like that. Like, do you love basketball? Because we've seen guys in the NBA that are exact same. They're not exempt from this conversation. Do you love basketball, or are you really passionate about waking up every day and getting 1% better every day, or do you just love the perks that come along with being a basketball player, the limelight, the glitz, the glamour? I really honestly feel like she loves the other things, the other stuff, more than getting in the gym. And when I say get in the gym, I ain't talking about with the Instagram trainers. I'm talking about getting in the hot, sweaty gym, no camera crew, nobody we're not posting it on Instagram. Because you saw her Unrivaled this summer with Lisa Leslie, posting the clips of her with Lisa Leslie doing a few drills. That was for show. That was just for show.
They did it one time, Cuffs. They did it one time for a content grab.
She did it one time just so you can post it. But, now when I see the games, it's like you can't make a layup under the basket to save your life. And it kills me to watch that, being a coach at heart, always going to be a coach, it drives me crazy because she has no touch around the basket, no polish, no footwork. And not to bash on Angel, but it's like she just needs to improve, man. It's just that simple. She needs some true serum and some true serum in her circle.